Agenda item 6.2, update council rules of conduct.
Sorry, bro.
6.21 is my item. As the council is aware, at the last meeting, I was directed to update the council rules relating to the section of the meeting pertaining to citizens to be heard. That is attached to the agenda item, or at least the draft thereof. And I'm going to make a couple of general comments and present council with the options that are available to you today. So first, as a general comment, a council meeting is a special type of location for First Amendment purposes called a limited public forum. A limited public forum is one that has characteristics of both government activity, but also certain business activity that needs to take place. It is somewhere between the informality and freedom of, say, a public park or a public sidewalk versus the formality of a courtroom. In a courtroom, I think anyone who feels that they have a strong right to free speech will quickly be corrected. In federal court, I would challenge a person to do that and find how quickly the U.S. Marshals are prepared to accept it. As a spoiler alert, they are not. So this environment as a limited public forum applies to city council meetings, school board meetings, county commission meetings, just government meetings in general, where on one hand there needs to be robust discussion, including praise, critique, questions, etc. But it is not a free-for-all, the way that it might be on social media, the way that it might be on public sidewalks, public parks, etc. Because the council has convened the meeting for a limited purpose. That's why it's called a limited public forum. In a limited public forum, the council has the ability to implement rules of decorum, rules of procedure, in order to facilitate an orderly meeting. For example, the council gets to decide what are the purposes for which you are convened, what are the topics on which you are prepared to listen to comment or questions, and whom are you willing to hear from. What you cannot do, however, is engage in viewpoint discrimination. It is okay for the council, under First Amendment law as it stands today, to implement, for example, a bona fide residency requirement, which is what we discussed at the last meeting. So if the council wants to say that the purpose of city business is to hear from city stakeholders, you have the right to do that. What you would not be able to do is pick and choose favored or disfavored viewpoints. So it would not be okay, for example, to say that we would only accept comments that are complimentary while stifling criticism. That certainly is not how the government gets to operate in any context, not even in a public forum. So those are just general remarks. Case law on this has evolved quite a bit over the years that I've been practicing, and just in the decades before. This is a topic that I keep up with pretty regularly, and in fact, interestingly enough, the Florida Municipal Attorneys Association is having its annual conference next week, and one of the topics on there for discussion is First Amendment issues at council meetings. So obviously a topic that's not unique to Clearwater, something that comes up in a lot of different contexts. So let's talk about the different options that are available to the council. Again, keeping in mind what's not available is any sort of viewpoint favoritism in terms of someone's opinion or perspective receiving favored or disfavored treatment. Option number one is simply the status quo. So if the council has reviewed the draft and would like to keep the status quo without making any changes, then council could do that. Procedurally, the way to accomplish that would be a motion to postpone the item indefinitely. If that motion is made, like any other motion, it would require a second, and if it gets seconded, then it could be voted upon. So again, option number one is what I would call the status quo option. Option number two is to adopt the rule that's been drafted or something very similar to it. There's a couple little scrivener's errors that would need to correct, but nothing substantive in the attachment. If the council is comfortable with the rule that's been drafted based on last council meeting's conversation, then a motion could be made today to adopt the rule as drafted. Like any other motion, it would have to be seconded, and if it is seconded, it will be voted upon and it passes if it receives at least 3 votes. One comment I want to make on option number two, as far as the rule that's been drafted. I have done my best to draft it in accordance with the direction that I received in the last meeting. However, there is a feature of the rule that I do think deserves some additional discussion or special consideration. In conversations with the clerk, it is challenging to manage, and I don't want to speak for her, but we'll defer to her momentarily. I believe it is challenging to manage the process in the moment of ascertaining who is a local stakeholder. And that is particularly true because the rule as drafted has a variety of eligibility criteria and a variety of ways that someone can prove that they are a local stakeholder. In conversations with the clerk, it does not seem to me that that is going to be something feasible for her to manage in the moment of a council meeting, and therefore she has asked that the rule include 24 hours advance notice for pre-registration. So that is in the rule currently, meaning in the current draft of the rule. If there is a motion to approve the rule today, that will be part of it. I think I should pause there and probably defer to the clerk to share her thoughts on that, as well as any software limitations that she may have.
So I have been able to confirm with Granicus, so that is the platform we use for e-comments. In that same process, you can register to speak, and we can't limit just as it's proposed 24. And the individuals are allowed to actually attach the documents that the attorney has identified that will prove what type of stakeholder they are. So it would make it a lot easier if we have that limitation, so that way I know ahead of time who has registered, and then that way I can confirm and review that all of that documentation has been submitted, if that is
That's a restriction.
Yeah.
So the way that I drafted the rule is a combination of the feedback that council has heard from the clerk and the feedback that received at the last meeting. So again, that's the second option, would be to approve the rule more or less as drafted. The third option here is to direct me to draft a different rule altogether. So as I said at the beginning, this is a limited public forum at which the council can choose the purposes for which you are convened. And if the council so chooses, you do have the ability to designate the council meetings solely for agenda items. In other words, if the council wants to take this time to discuss agenda items only and to focus on the business meeting only, rather than the portion of the meeting that I describe as open mic night or open mic afternoon, the council does have the ability to do that. Again, the city cannot pick and choose among viewpoints, but you can pick and choose among topics, and particularly distinguishing topics that are on the agenda versus things that are not on the agenda, presumably are unrelated to the purposes for which you are here, is a proper, valid constitutional distinction. As long as people are allowed to comment on the agenda items, which is both a statutory right in Florida, as well as in most cases, a Florida constitutional right. So that's the third item, is to draft a different rule, or third option would be to draft a different rule. What would that rule look like? It would probably be, although it's in council discretion, one that deletes the section of the meeting that deals with non-agenda items. So in other words, the council meeting, if that rule is revised, would focus solely on agenda items. Your time would be devoted solely to agenda items, and there would no longer be a section of the meeting dealing with stuff that is not before the council and not on the agenda. So that's the third option. If the council directs that, however, that's not anything I've currently drafted. So I would need the council to give me that direction today. I would bring that back at the next meeting, which would be the July 29th work session. Again, there's nothing drafted currently to do that because I haven't gotten that direction from the council. So that's the third option. And then the final option will be to make a temporary motion today. A temporary motion will be one that either suspends, pauses, or makes any other temporary change in the rules. A temporary motion is one that can be made verbally from the dais. It does not require us to reconvene necessarily. Any member of the council, other than the mayor, could make that motion literally from the dais. The clerk, if that motion were passed, would put it in minutes. Just like what we discussed earlier in the meeting, there was a motion to change the time of the council meeting. The motion has been made previously to change the date of a council meeting. Those are all motions to either suspend an existing rule or motions to deviate from an existing rule, but they do not make a permanent change. So a temporary motion could be made verbally without waiting for me or directing me to come back with a permanent change. If a council member does want to make a temporary change in the rule, either to just see how things go, or because there's changes you'd like to make effective today, as opposed to changes that would either require me to come back at the next council meeting, or as opposed to the changes that are currently attached to the agenda, again, any council member other than the mayor could make that motion. The couple things I would caution you about in terms of temporary motions, however. First, whoever makes that motion, if anyone, will need to specify the duration of time where that new rule or pause rule or temporary rule will be in effect. So for example, motion could be made to amend Rule 6 temporarily, or motion could be made to temporarily pause this section of the meeting for X amount of time. But you will have to specify that so that the clerk knows how long that's going to be in effect. The second point I want to make on temporary motions is that even though they can be made from the dais, and even though they can be approved verbally, nevertheless, a temporary motion is a departure from our existing rules. It's not a permanent change, and because it is a temporary departure, there is a higher threshold for passage than normal. A normal rule can be approved with at least 3 affirmative votes. However, a departure from or temporary suspension of any council rule does require at least a 2/3 supermajority, which means in this context of 5 council members, there must be at least 4 council members who would support a temporary change, whatever that temporary change is that you have in mind. So again, just to very briefly recap, your 4 options. Option number 1 is status quo, is a motion to postpone the matter indefinitely. Option number 2 is a motion to approve the rule that's been drafted. Again, keeping in mind that it does have the pre-registration requirement as requested by the clerk. Option number 3 is to direct me to draft a different version of the rule, such as one that would focus entirely on the business meeting and have no sections relating to things that have nothing to do with the business for which council is convened. And then finally is the option to make a temporary motion verbally from the dais to either make whatever change you deem appropriate temporarily, as long as the time period is specified during which that temporary rule will be in effect. With that, I'm happy to answer questions.
This time, take public comment, so is there anyone here from the public who desires to speak? Okay, to the item 6.8.
I'm Mr. Marley, that was an awful lot. Thank you for noticing that we are not in federal court.
Mostly awful.
We're invitees to this mess. And the purpose of free speech is to nurture the mind, is to communicate ideas, is to challenge ideologies, is to share notions, it's to inspire creativity. Free speech is an advocate that reinforces America's basic founding principles. Free speech is a major contributor to a vigorous, productive, healthy, and happy citizen. Free speech and freedom of the press have a responsibility to expose official acts aimed at squelching free speech and communication. That's why I'm standing here right now. Rule 15 and Resolution 2410 are nothing but official suppression of free speech. Rule 15 and 2410, therefore, should be abandoned and abolished. We've seen, if you look at the PDF, Mr. Marley wrote a 6-page document on something that probably could have been done in 2 sentences. He's really good at that. But all of you should be ashamed if this passes. And that is a shame for undermining America's founding principles and the First Amendment.
Mayor Rectum. I know I'm probably wasting my breath here because I've been to about 20 of these meetings and it seems like you all collude ahead of time because every vote's unanimous. I don't understand how 5 people can be unanimous on every single vote. That's ridiculous. You said you didn't understand why we don't want to give our name to do this thing. It's called the Fourth Amendment, Mayor. We have the right to privacy under the Fourth Amendment. And if we give that's funny to you, the Fourth Amendment? That's hilarious?
You don't have, if you're going to speak.
We lose our rights. Is that what you're
You don't have
saying?
a constitutional right to do it anonymously.
Says who?
Just go ahead, continue.
The Fourth Amendment says we have the right to privacy. Florida Statute 901.151 says that only time we have to ID ourselves is if we're suspected of a crime. What crime am I suspected of that I have to surrender my right to privacy to you? Talk about respect. Show the Constitution some respect. The guy sitting under the Constitution arrested a man for saying he gets under the thin skin of the mayor. So it's not funny to us. This is not a show. This is what we do. We're activists. And you're a traitor. So that's why we want to keep ourselves private. We don't want retaliation by government parasites who have a monopoly on violence. The whole reason we're here is because your police department falsely imprisoned Michael Taylor on the beach, and when he came here to speak to you, the police chief assaulted him in these chambers. Is this funny?
Well, I've asked you to act civilly. And
Excuse me, sir, this is my time.
You're violating the rules.
I am not violating any rules.
I'm asking you to bring it down.
This is my voice,
I'm
sir.
asking you not to disrupt.
This is my voice, sir. I'm speaking. Stop interrupting me and add some time on for interrupting me. You talk about safety. You're worried about what happened to Trump. You're standing on the dead bodies of the Trump incident to restrict free speech in the council chambers. It's good. And then you bring up the comfortability of other people. What law is comfortability? Also, I don't know why you have three options, but free speech isn't one of them. He even actually said, get rid of the whole free speech part. You guys just want to do what you want to do with the taxpayers' money that's taken under threat and duress and spend it however you please. Not one time has someone come up here and dissuaded you from voting unanimously. You guys colluded with each other ahead of time, and no matter what anybody says up here, you do what you want. You're not respectful. At your age, Mayor, you should know the Bill of Rights. If you graduated law school, you should know you have the right to privacy, and you don't have to surrender it to have free speech in this country. That contradicts. You don't understand the Bill of Rights, Mayor, honestly? You don't understand the Bill of Rights? You're not laughing anymore. Ah! Isn't that funny? The Bill of Rights is hilarious. It's right there, buddy.
Time's up.
Yeah. How's my time up? I got 25 seconds. Now you want to restrict my speech. You are a tyrant. You are restricting the speech. You're writing more rules to restrict the speech. We're not going away. Your legacy is going to be you're the mayor who passed a rule to violate people's free speech because you don't like being talked the way you deserve to be talked. Respect is earned.
Let's do this again.
I'm Tony Tello. I'm 520, 522, 520 Cleveland Street. I'm first American citizen. I love this country. Came from my family. Everyone I know has ever had. So I sit here and I must say this. And I say this to everyone that comes up and speaks. An articulate man is a dangerous man. It's always going to be like that. So I ask anyone who comes up here and speaks, treat any of our representatives because we are a republic. We say that we understand our Constitution and we understand our rights. Remember that we are a republic. These are elected officials that we voted for. And if we do not do our due diligence and elect people that we see fit and deem fit, then we are failing as American citizens. To complain about our rights and not do our civil duty for electing these officials, that is our error and our fallacy. We do not blame others for our actions tonight, and if you want your rights, you will stand for them. You will tell them where you are found, like I do right here at 520, where any of you gentlemen have spoken to me prior. I've spoke with half of these gentlemen, they come to my restaurant and spoken to me. So I need them to understand that our city officials are elected officials that represent us. If you deem it unfit for them, if you see their opinions to not coincide with the citizens, then it is our right as citizens to stand up for them. But we must do it with class and dignity and be reminded these are people as well as citizens of our community. I've seen every single part of you guys be part of the downtown development. I've seen people live and breathe downtown Clearwater. And to see that diminished by people that choose to make our city and our government a circus will only lead to violence like we seen 2 or 3 days ago with our president. That is not what I want to see. I do not want to see our elected officials having to be paraded out in good trucks because they feel unsafe for not only for themselves but for their families. Me having my daughter, I see myself and have empathy for everyone else. That includes both sides of the spectrum. Being a libertarian myself, I have no party ties. I just hope to maintain true to the Constitution. That's why, even though how ridiculous sometimes these things might seem, I think one of the most important principles is our free speech. And it's our responsibility as citizens to be able to present that in an educated as well as polite manner to get our point across. I condemn any behavior through which anyone threatens our representative, elected representatives. We are a republic. We are not a democracy. We must remember that. So these are elected officials. Treat them with respect because we elected them. Thank you again for all your service, and I will continue to speak out as clearly as I can.
Jeff Green. Again, I've never been to a city council meeting in my life till tonight. I felt compelled to come up here because of the way that I've seen the city council, not only you, Mayor Gloria, treat the public. These meetings are public meetings. These meetings are not Clearwater resident meetings. If somebody has something to say to you, they come here to your meeting to tell you, to let you know something's going on. So you know what's going on. But if they can't come in here, just because they don't live in the city, that seems a little socialist. The last thing I knew, this wasn't communist Russia. We're all allowed to speak how we feel. It doesn't matter if you like it. It doesn't matter if it hurts your feelings. Speech is speech. I understand you can't yell fire in a theater. It creates panic. But nothing that anybody has ever said to you that I've seen has caused panic. So there should be no reason why anybody is not allowed to come up here and speak at this podium. And if y'all want to put something in your little bylaws or rules saying that you have to be a Clearwater resident, my address is open for roommates. If you don't live in the city of Clearwater, come see me. And they will all come in here and speak. And I'll stand at the door and ask them. They will come in here and tell you how they feel. That's their right. I noticed you didn't laugh or joke or anything when these people were asking you for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not only that, but millions. And then all of you get damaged. Every one of you. There wasn't even a question to any of these people. And then when we brought up things, there was nothing from them about it, no questions from you about it. I just think you guys need to think about this a little bit better.
I'm Landon Lee. So let me get this straight. I'm out of the league and retired, and you want me to attach documents to prove who I am before I can speak 24 hours when I do this. What planet are you on? These PDFs are pretty tough for me to print. But now, I'm finding out the city will do it for me. Last time it cost me $23 for all those PDFs. That was for the police department. So I think it's great. But most of the time when I come in here, I don't really want to speak on what. I don't have a clue. And you want to take that away from me? I don't think so.
I'm going to be extremely nice. Mr. Smith, Rector, interrupted that gentleman right there. That was a break of the rules of decorum.
Remove him.
Can we please remove this? There's number 2. That's a second warning.
Hey, look, I'm chairing the meeting.
I am
Unless you're resigned, so please, you've done so well.
I'm
Just,
trying.
it's very easy.
Don't patronize.
Let him speak. Let him speak.
Continue. Just address.
Let him
I'm
speak.
addressing this stuff, man. You're literally rewriting these rules of decorum of not interrupting people and not saying this and not doing that. And oh, you're not from here. You know, I spoke to CJ Grisham. He's a lawyer out of Texas. I spoke to him. I have more faith in a lawyer from Texas than I do with this lawyer here. And he can say whatever he wants to say, just like he was saying, oh, you can either get rid of it in a toll, but the thing about it is that it's being done in a malicious intent. You can't just restrict people's free speech under malicious intent. That was what y'all's words were. I come in here and I've never threatened a single person. I've never threatened Albert, and I've never threatened any one of you. Sure, I get it. I have guns. We know I have guns. You know I have a vest. You know I open carry. But I've never threatened anybody. That is not who I am. In my 20s, dude, that might have been a whole other story. We'd be bare knuckling it. It wouldn't even matter. It wasn't a question. In my 20s, but I'm 45 years old. Oh yeah, my birthday's in 6 days. So if you want to wish me a happy birthday at the end of the meeting, you're more than welcome. If not, you can vote unanimous on it. But the core principle is right there underneath his head. That Constitution, my parents fought for, my grandfather died for, his great-grandfather lost his leg for. That's what that means to me. My family, the only reason I didn't get into the Marines is because I friggin' failed a drug test. And I'm sorry that I smoked weed, but I was trying to get away from it.
Criminal.
You know, so be it. But I was trying to get my life together. I was trying to get away from this and get into something that gave me structure. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for me. But I found my true calling was by what? Using my voice, expressing my rights, teaching others people how to speak for themselves. And if the people that can't speak for themselves, where are all these people that don't want me here? Where are they? You would think today, of all days, these people would be standing up saying, yes, we do not like the guy from friggin' 4 hours away that lives in Port St. Lucie, that has to drive his wife and daughter over here so that they can go play in the library and go play at the park in Coaster Park, and then we're gonna go over here to get pizza. You know, I'll do it from 4 hours away. Doesn't bother me.
Thank you.
Oh man, I forgot. I was just supposed to get more time, but we'll do that. We'll do it another day. My bad. My fault.
Patricia Kirby, 11 Spencer Avenue. I didn't know I was going to be speaking on this today, but I'm concerned, maybe I misunderstood, but I'm hearing that you're taking away public comment from the meetings, and that deeply concerns me, even if it's for residents. Is that correct? Maybe I misunderstood. I'm a little sleep deprived. I've been taking care of 2 litters of foster kittens from a hoarding situation, so low on sleep. I just want to speak. I really believe that public comment is important. It's an opportunity for the citizens to let you know what they think without it being an email. It's an opportunity for us to share how we feel on a very personal level, like one-to-one. I don't agree with being rude. I don't agree with people arguing and fighting. I think it can be done with decorum. I think that he is showing at least that he is looking, so that's a good thing. I don't agree with carrying weapons on the beach or anything like that. I just don't think it's a good place for it, but I do believe that opportunity for people even to come in from out of the area and share an opinion is a First Amendment right. It's just freedom of speech. It really is. I don't agree with what they're doing. their right to speak that opinion. As someone who is descended from signers of the Magna Carta, I'm a daughter of the American Revolution, I'm a daughter of the Confederacy. My relatives were in the Boston Tea Party, my relatives were on the Mayflower. I have relatives in the United States government, and I am related to several United States presidents. I sincerely believe in the right for public comment and citizens to be able to be heard by members of our government. It's important. And I would ask you, please, to continue to allow citizens to be able to speak at these meetings. It reflects upon you and your ability to be good listeners and to be public servants, that you take in the public comment on a regular basis and allow us to see you face to face instead of just being an email. And I did actually call your office to try to make a meeting with you, and your assistant at that time said she didn't know anything about the Duke Tree issue, and she said, we'll get back to you, and she hung up on me, and of course I never heard anything again. So for me, this is my opportunity to speak out on these issues to you. Thank you.
Respect to agenda item 6.2.
Hello, my name is Brian Beckman. Hello, council. Hello, city manager and city staff. I want to start by saying that I have a certain level of understanding of what you might feel when faced with a difficult speaker. As you know, my wife was a council member, faced with similar situations you face. Although many times feedback from the public can be thoughtful and supportive, at other times the feedback can be negative, loud, and feel personal. Unfortunately, the negative feedback would go beyond council meetings, including threats via mail and phone. So I have a certain amount of understanding how you might feel. But I would ask that you not take steps to make it more difficult for residents of this city to come speak before you. Many of us know from personal experience that emails to you collectively sometimes aren't returned for what might be legitimate reasons. So a council meeting is many times seen as the place and time to come before you, to speak to you, to ensure that you see them personally and that you feel like others might hear your story and might feel represented, even if it might seem like a minority opinion, but to be heard. Defining parameters for conduct is one thing, but creating additional procedures that require advance notice for residents to speak puts an unnecessary step and burden on residents. As we know very well from other experiences, like voting for instance, putting up additional obstacles reduces participation. And I would expect and hope that you would not want that outcome. Please don't create rules that become some of the most restrictive in the county. Instead, please take a balanced approach. Please think about ways to create a culture of participation and respectful feedback. You all have that ability to lead in that way. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'll try to speak up this time. I'm still Bill Johnson. In 2014, the Urban Land Institute noted that Clearwater was a divided city with deep and enduring tensions. Many of us, and you, have worked hard to resolve those tensions. For example, I specifically salute our mayor for attending, speaking, and staying through the end of the recent Clearwater NAACP Freedom Dinner at Woodpecker Hall. Thank you. It's important to reach out to as many parts of the community as possible. Yet, we still have unresolved opportunities internally within Clearwater. The challenge is to create as many opportunities for respectful discussions and local public input as possible. And we look for open public discussions amongst our council members here on the dais, as you did during your strategic planning workshop. It is important to focus first on local issues and not personalities. Within the resolution, I propose a couple of minor modifications if you were to go that direction. I suggest a 24-hour notice period for public comment would be replaced or reduced, if for no other point, to 5 p.m. the day before the meeting, in a similar manner as the e-comment section of the agenda Granicus process allows for public comments to be submitted through to you. I also suggest that prior residential certification recognize today's current residential recognition. For instance, that used by the city's parking discount fee program. Once residential certification is achieved, it should be recognized for the following council meetings and for the entire year, rather than having to resubmit each time. And I think that would be a better process. And finally, I think you should fix the 2 Scribner errors before you adopt the resolution. I provided a copy of the corrections that I saw to the city attorney, and I can provide that to the rest of the committee as well.
Let's hear the time speak with you.
The spelling errors. Unanimous. He's good, he's good.
Isn't he the pastor for the cops or something? No?
Oh, come
But still afternoon, good afternoon, Mayor, Rector, council members, Mr. Poirier, Mr. Margolis. I guess I'm the other side of the coin. Bill Johnson just took all my points. I was gonna make mention that in reading through the document, I noticed the pre-registration, the timeline, and then to me, a question about whether that referred to the general items on the agenda or just to the public comment that was later on that was not referenced in there. And so my point was to be also with regards to this pre-registration, that you, if you have it, that once in the system, you're in the system. You shouldn't have to come back every meeting, re-register again, and hopefully save our clerk a substantial amount of time and energy in that process. The second thing was whether or not that pre-registration is specific to the agenda, the specific agenda items, or only to the comment, public comment at the end. And so that I would bring back to you. The third item that I had was the adoption. If it was in fact adopted today, it says would be adopted immediately. I presume that would be after the end of this meeting, so as not to short circuit any conversation during the course of this meeting period, the open comment period. If I may, with regards to people's freedom of speech, to me, this meeting is clearly the City of Clearwater governmental meeting seeking to provide knowledge to the public of the functions that are being put forward for amendments, for adoptions, for approvals, for rights. We may not agree on each of those elements that are put forward. And sometimes it would be nice to have a little bit more detail behind them. But setting up rules and guidelines for how these meetings, a city meeting, should be operated is not an infringement on anybody's rights of free speech. And people who don't understand that are the ones who laugh about it. All right?
Live debate
So I
anytime.
can only say that in the truest sensation of my heart of what I believe I see going on. There's always frequent conversation of how the general public has to come together. Well, they have to. And that means they have to put their hatreds aside. And with that, I will say no more. Thank you.
Anyone else who desires to speak?
Restricting speech doesn't restrict speech. Is that what you just said?
Okay, seeing none, council discussion.
Unanimous.
All right, I'll open the conversation. First, let me acknowledge that I recognize the essence of a free society is one that permits members of the public to have the ability to use their voice, including being critical of the government and us as a council. There's a bedrock principle underlying the First Amendment. It's that a government may not prohibit the expression of an idea or discriminate against speech based on its content, its viewpoint, or simply find the expression disagreeable. Let me be clear that this council is not interested in silencing speakers, whether you're from here or not, simply because you offer a disfavored viewpoint or are critical of the city of Clearwater or your elected officials. We've unfortunately, as a city, been forced to face challenges associated with identifying and protecting the boundary where free speech becomes excessively disruptive, and to safeguard the rights of our residents to participate in the political and civic process free from intimidation and harassment. Sadly, I think we all would agree that sadly, the escalation of disruptive and obstructive behavior has created an atmosphere of hostility within this city hall, where many of our residents are fearful to attend and to participate in their local government. Outside of these walls is what many of you are not seeing, are not reading, and are not hearing. Our staff, your city council, has continually been threatened with harm, rape,
Just like me.
and even death, as online videos continue to incite violence and urge followers to act hostile to conventional moral standards.
Lie.
That's a lie. I've given you a warning.
Who?
Okay, this is the last time.
Who are you talking to?
You're out, you.
I haven't said a word.
You're out of order.
I haven't said a word. I haven't said a word.
This is your last.
These two just spoke and you're talking to me.
Okay, well, this is your last warning, all, okay?
Yeah. I'll give you one last warning too.
Don't disrupt.
This is your last warning too.
Don't disrupt.
Don't disrupt the meeting, sir.
You're out of order. I'm gonna recess for 5 minutes.
So we're in recess?
Yes.
We can have free speech again?
You need to.
Why? I'm not doing anything but sitting here peacefully.
Sit up there and lie.
What?
You continue to disrupt.
I didn't disrupt anybody.
You did.
No, I didn't.
Mr. Taylor told us that you were gonna do this before you.
Mr. Taylor told you I was gonna do what?
That you were gonna disrupt the meeting and somebody.
Mr. Taylor?
Whoa, don't gaslight me
He
and
said he
don't
was
throw
gonna
me
be
under the
civil,
bus,
and one of you was
bro.
gonna provoke us until you got going.
I'm not provoking anybody.
So you're out of order. I warned you and you continue to do
I'm not doing anything but sitting here peacefully.
When Mr. Taylor was talking, what's the difference?
He interrupted me too.
that. You need to leave.
So you can interrupt anybody you want at any point in time, but
He said it's time for you to
nobody
go.
else can
Not
say
disrupting the
anything.
meeting.
What did I do?
He said you were out of order.
I know, but what did I do? What law did I break?
He's managing the meeting. I'm here to tell you that it's time for you to leave.
Is it under threat of arrest?
I'm telling you that if you're failing to leave, then you will be issued a trespass warning. Then if you fail to leave then you will be arrested.
So you're threatening the arrest?
I'm not threatening you. I'm telling you what's going to happen. He's given you an opportunity to leave.
So under threat of arrest?
He's quelling free speech by having you removed.
Under threat of arrest, I will leave. Sieg Heil. Sieg Heil.
Look at you, you need to change his uniform, Mr. Brown. That's what you need to do.
Mr. Felix, keep moving, please.
I am moving.
No, you're not. You're stopping and turning around.
I'm not stopping. I'm moving. Don't assault me now. Don't murder me. Please don't murder me.
He said multiple things and you disrupted the speaker.
So where I gotta go? On the other side of this?
Head on out.
You don't know.
No, I said head on out.
Oh, all the way out?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I can't be in the library?
What time is it?
After 6.
After 6. You got 8 minutes, so you can hang out up there
Cool.
in front of the library.
I can hang out here. Stiff, you put a guy in jail for speaking. How do you sleep at night, bro? How do you sleep at night? There you go. You guys are causing this, no one else.
Hey, John.
Yes.
Hey, I'm a reporter at the Tampa Bay Times.
Yes, ma'am. How can I help you?
I heard the comments you spoke for the item, and I was hoping to quote you in the paper.
Go ahead.
So I was just hoping to get your name.
John Felix.
John. What's the correct spelling of your last name?
F-I-L-A-X.
F-I-L-A-X.
F is definitely what needs to be done in there, fucking idiot.
And J-O-H-N? Okay. And what city do you live in?
Do you have to know that?
I'm just asking, like,
I'm homeless in Clearwater.
Are you really though? I have to put what's true in the paper. Is that accurate and true?
He wouldn't tell me where he lived.
Who?
He wouldn't tell me where he lived.
Who? Oh.
If you want to write that down. You have to know where I live?
It's just.
I'd
something-
rather not, if you don't mind.
Okay. It's just something we ask everyone.
I understand, but if you put that in the paper and then you got retaliation going on here.
Okay. Well, thank you.
That's it? Because I won't tell you where I live? What are you trying to quote?
She's the most powerful person in.
I know, but I'm trying to figure out what she's trying to say.
Okay,
to help you.
Before I start asking you questions, I told you, I said that I heard the comments you spoke at the lectern, and we were hoping to quote you in the paper. And we don't use anonymous sources at the Tampa Bay Times.
I told you my name.
And I thanked you for that.
Oh, so that's all you wanted?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to get crazy with you.
Okay.
I apologize. Appreciate your time. Have a good day. Trespass for speeching. Nice, huh?
Still nothing.
Still perfect.
Still perfect.
You work under Sergeant Stiff?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know he arrested a man for speaking? Do you know that? Have you ever arrested a cop? But they go silent when you ask them real questions. Sir, our goal is to have the police department be like the fire department. We call you guys, you come, you rescue, you save the day. You don't roam around the city causing problems, fucking with the homeless, right? You don't enforce victimless crimes. You don't throw people in a cage for speech. You do what you're supposed to do. You're on standby. We pay you the tax dollars. We make a call. Fire department comes out. They do their job and they leave. On the other hand, you got these tyrants who don't read the laws, don't know the laws, don't care about the oath they took to the Constitution, and they got control over everybody, and they threw me out because I was speaking. So that's our goal, is to get the police department to be more like the fire department. That's why I shook your hand, and I won't shake a police officer's hand, because they follow the boss, they follow their opinions, but they don't even read the law. That's it, sir. That's why you get respect and they don't. You notice how she clammed up when I told her her sergeant she worked for arrested a man for speaking. He went up there and he said he gets under the thin skin of the mayor, and that sergeant literally threw him in a cage for that. The reason this whole thing started is because the guy who was in there was walking down the beach with a firearm, which is perfectly legal. In Clearwater PD here, they went and attacked him on the beach, falsely imprisoned him, threw him in the back of the car with a gun on him. They're incompetent, unlike the fire department. I would say get rid of that red line flag, though, because there's only one American flag. That's my only suggestion.
appreciate that.
I appreciate you. You got the American flag on already. You don't need that extra stuff.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate you, man. So, how do you feel about your sergeant arresting somebody for speech? Is that what you swore an oath to protect, or no? Kelsey? Alicia Kelsey? Amanda Kelsey? Why are you going silent? It's tough, huh? Tough being a government parasite. Did you arrest Sergeant Stiff for arresting a man for speaking? You would never arrest another cop. You would never do that. You would never do that. Me?
Yeah,
Of course.
come on.
Of course you can.
Bye, sweetheart. Have a good night.
See you guys.
Matthew, right down here. To your right.
Say, young lady. Now, you know if they implement their rules, you wouldn't have been able to go up there and tell us about your lineage and, right? Millions of dollars in their budget, but this is where all the homeless come and hang out in Clearwater.
Well, of course.
Yeah, they don't have one dime, not one dime to fix the homeless problem in here. And I'm sure that cult they have right over there doesn't pay a dime in taxes either, while they're raking in billions and billions and billions of dollars.
They tore up downtown Clearwater where nobody
Yeah, they've
goes
turned it
anymore.
into a ghost town.
Yep, nobody goes down there anymore. And it used to be packed with people when I first moved here in the 70s and 80s.
You're good.
Sir, I'm with Bailey tonight. Any chance you'd be willing to do a quick interview?
Sure. There's a clip down there or something. Go ahead.
All right, start up for me, sir. Say and spell first and last name.
Johnfilax.
Do you live here in Clearwater?
The last one asked me where I live too, but I'm gonna say I'm homeless in Clearwater. I'd rather not say where I live because they use that to retaliate.
Talk to me about why you're against this rule change.
Well, the First Amendment, no law shall be passed by any government that abridges the freedom of speech. They're upset because Michael Taylor came here, he was assaulted on the beach by the Clearwater PD, and then when he came in to talk to the council about it, the police chief assaulted him in front of the council. So he keeps coming back, and they're, instead of saying, let's sit down, let's pull up a chair to the table and have this conversation and see how we can come to some compromise, they keep getting more tyrannical with their free speech rules. You even heard them in there saying, let's just get rid of option 3, let's just get rid of free speech altogether in this city. Because people who come from the outside who are attacked by the police might come in here and complain about it. So nothing was done when they falsely imprisoned him on the beach. Nothing was done when the police chief assaulted him right in front of the council members. The police can do no wrong. The councilors can do no wrong. You see everything they do is unanimous because it's premeditated. So we have the right to redress our grievances, whether they like it, whether they're cuss words, as long as we're not threatening them, which no one has done, or fighting words, or like causing a riot per se. We should be allowed to speak. The 3 minutes we're given without being interrupted, without being arrested, without being escorted out by 5-6 cops.
Sir, we heard a council member in there say that public comment has led to kind of a hostile environment within City Hall, also threats of violence without City Hall. Response to that?
Public figures get threats all the time. I'm a public figure. My wife's people have threatened to shoot my wife in the face, to rape her, to kill me. I've had stalkers for years on end who actually come to my house. If you're a public figure, that's part of the deal. You don't get to be a public figure and never have to hear criticism or never have to hear anything. If someone sees me, and they have seen me in public, they've come up to me personally and called me names to my face. That's their right, just like it's our right to speak freely at a council meeting. They're surviving. Everything they own is because of our tax money. They're acting like this is some private corporation where we have no right to speak. They use our money, but we're not allowed to say anything about it.
Sir, who's your wife?
Who is my wife?
Yeah.
She's private.
Okay.
I'm a
Is she
YouTube
currently a public official?
No.
Or public figure?
No, she's a private person. She's
Sir-
not in government at all.
Sir, anything else that you wanted to add about this?
The First Amendment needs to stay intact. No First Amendment, no America, no freedom, period, point blank. It's the First Amendment for a reason, and the Second Amendment was passed so we can protect our First Amendment.
That's right.
All right, thank you so
Thanks.
much, sir. I
What's your name?
appreciate it. Sarah Blazonis, Bay News 9.
Blazonis?
Yes.
Greek? Married a
Lithuanian,
Greek?
but everybody thinks Greek.
Bravo. See you. Hi, sir.
you doing?
Can I ask you something about what you said?
Yeah, of course, I'm okay. I just have to speak, but
My name's John.
for the thing.
You said you were pro free speech, but you kind of added a caveat about being respectful.
Yes.
Why is that?
I think etiquette is important when it comes to any civil discussion. I always, when I talk about democracy or liberty, I always reference Plato and a Stoic mindset. A man who can articulate himself can get his point across better. As you'd seen by what you guys have incited, our free speech is now in jeopardy because of what the politicians feel that they are experiencing.
So who's taking the action?
It doesn't matter because perception. If I perceive something and I perceive there's a danger and I'm the one inciting it, ramifications will always be held. That's why an articulate man is a dangerous one. You can make it's like handling a cobra. Have you ever handled a cobra before?
The thing with stoicism, and
well, let me finish the analogy.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
If you handle a cobra, right?
If
it
handle
is,
a cobra.
If it is tyranny, and that's what we're all scared of, tyranny. Me as an American, I've always been scared of that.
So you're libertarian, right?
Yeah. So I've always been scared of tyranny. I have a don't tread on me flag on all my establishments. I'm a big advocate of that. But when handling a cobra, if you make the cobra scared, if you make the cobra angry, what does the cobra do?
He strikes.
Okay.
Well,
And what
the
do you do?
founding
You chop
fathers,
his head off
the
and-
founding fathers would shoot the cobra.
The problem with that statement,
We
right?
shoot the cobra.
The problem with that statement, right? The problem with that whole thing is that there's no need for that. There's no need for that. There isn't.
For what?
To kill the cobra.
If he's striking it,
Of course.
There's no need right currently to kill the cobra. I think that we're escalating to a point that is unmanageable.
Do you understand why we're here, right?
Free speech.
No. He was assaulted on the beach, and then he was assaulted in the chambers by the police chief right in front of the city council.
I'm here at all city council meetings.
So were you at the one where he was assaulted by the police chief?
He was told to leave.
Right, and he wasn't going fast enough for Chief Gandy, so Chief Gandy physically assaulted him.
Yeah.
That's why we're here, because his free speech led to an assault by the police chief, and the police chief has zero repercussions. The Cobra did something.
I see what I think that is happening, and I say this because I see it. I see it from both sides.
Go
Just
ahead.
because I'm a business owner.
We're fine.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm a citizen.
I've been a business owner for my whole life.
No, I'm not saying that you're not. I'm just expressing my points.
Yeah,
so you have
yeah.
a greater understanding of who I am. So, business owner, I believe in this town. Like I said, a huge advocate, and
It's a great town.
I've seen it change. The city officials that we have now are so much more
Worse.
No, not.
Have you seen downtown Clearwater?
Let me. The new city council. Half of them are new. It's the mayor's new.
They haven't had time for you to make a decision like that.
I think I have.
And one of their first priorities is restricting speech.
The reason, well, like I said, I'm hearing all opinions, but let me articulate mine.
Sure.
So, the change that I've seen is that like other city council members before this, not like other city council members before this. They come down to the downtown block. I see them at the restaurants. I see them all around. I've spoken critical of the city. I've called them. I said before this, the prior thing I said that there was malice and incompetence in the city. I've said that verbally. I've said that I stand there and like you guys, I'm an advocate of it. But the manner in which you're going about it is more detrimental to our free speech than it is beneficial.
Only if the government is tyrannical.
No, see,
Yes.
it's like children.
That's the, with all due respect, sir, that's the rapist mentality.
No, it's not.
You made us do this to you.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have wore that skirt.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
you
Our
would've
free
worn that
speech
short
caused them to be more tyrannical.
So you're saying the slippery slope fallacy. That
It's not a fallacy.
slippery slope is a fallacy. It's called the slippery slope fallacy.
Okay.
One thing leads to another.
Right.
But
That's
exactly
a fallacy
what's
because
happening.
you don't know until it finally leads to it. That's why it's called a fallacy.
We don't know what.
What I'm trying to say is that I'm not condoning or saying that rape is viable. That's what I'm saying.
What you're saying is, if we go in there and we express our free speech the way the law says we can,
Okay.
that we're inciting them to do something tyrannical to us.
I'm not saying that you're inciting them. I'm saying that they're people.
So?
Same as you get passionate about your topic and you feel that you need to defend yourself, they are also people.
They're government employees.
Let's
Stop taking my money. You won't have to hear my mouth.
They're one of my employees.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
They're our employees.
I get it.
Okay.
I get that.
So when your employees at your business act out, you don't say, "Hey, let's have a respectful conversation. Why did you spray degreaser in that guy's face?"
I will say this.
You say, "Get the F out of here." You don't spray degreaser in somebody's
I
face.
would say this, just like in my restaurants, right? If I have an employee that I need to terminate, right? I informed them, I terminate them. It is my job as a responsible, but businesses are dictatorial by nature.
Dictatorial.
Yeah,
Sure.
I am.
But this is not a business.
It's gonna go back to it's gonna go back to what I'm saying. In the business, what I can say, hey, get out of my business, right? We are a republic, like I stated. We elect these.
I'm
officials.
glad you said that instead of democracy.
Yeah.
We are a republic.
I know.
Like I said, these are our elected officials. We elected them.
We who?
We the citizens of Clearwater.
No, they didn't.
How did they not elect them?
Because only like 8% of the people vote.
Again,
Were the
it is
rest
our-
of the people asked?
It is our.
Were the rest of the people given an easy way to vote on their phone?
It is.
No.
You can't do that.
It's
You
all
can't-
planned.
You can't do vote on the phone. That's even more. That
Doesn't,
it'll
there
say
is a
corrupted.
secure way to get more people to vote. They don't want everybody to vote.
I'm a
They want their
huge-
8% who's on their side, who their buddies get contracts with all these millions of dollars of taxes. So yeah, 8% of the population went and voted these people in because they're all connected.
Let me ask this: have you ever used the app e-signature? Where you've signed some DocuSign?
Yeah, of course I have.
Okay, why can't we do that with voting? Where you can vote from your phone.
I think
you can.
I think in general, and again, this goes back because I'm a big libertarian. I think all that stuff is a way for government to manipulate the voting. I believe that.
Can I
thoroughly.
give you my opinion on the best voting way?
And if you've seen our previous election, with the previous election, we know that to be true.
What?
Mail-in ballots, all that stuff leads to a lot of fishy stuff.
Oh.
Well, the best way is hard copy, live stream them counting.
So it goes back. It goes back to what I'm saying. It is our duties as citizens, every citizen of Clearwater, to vote officials that we deem fit. It is fine to speak out of them, but they're already elected.
I'm not allowed to vote.
Why?
Because I don't live in Clearwater.
Reside in Clearwater.
Well, that makes sense. It's a city of Clearwater.
Right. But when their police officers commit felonies against people who come out here from a different area, what should happen? It should be ignored, never brought up. The council hasn't done anything about it. It still happened.
Like I said, I think
they are above the law. They are sovereign citizens.
He actually came in here to bring it up.
The police are above the law. How can a chief assault somebody in front of the city council and nothing happens to him?
Zero.
He is above the law.
I
just got trespassed for speaking.
I thoroughly believe
they are above the law.
I thoroughly believe that no one is above the law.
You can believe that, but the reality is government parasites are above the law. They have qualified immunity. Judges have sovereign immunity. Do you have immunity?
Of course not.
Do you get to investigate your own crimes?
Of course not.
The police do.
And they usually find
That is a tyrannical dictatorial process. We shot somebody as a police. We'll let you know. We'll send you an email, let you know what we came up with. Or we might not contact you at all.
No, I understand the point that you're trying
That's
to
all
articulate.
government.
Like I said, I'm an advocate of small government. Always have been. Again, it goes back to my political beliefs. But I still believe that you must treat these people with respect.
Why?
They have to earn it.
Why?
None of them earned it.
Why?
Be it if only 8% of the population voted for them. Be it it's only 8. That means that those 8% of our citizens, be it manipulated, like you said, or not manipulated, whatever it is, they gave them the authority and the respect, and the respect that they gave them the vote. We as citizens should respect our officials. I do not mean by any means that you can't go up there and be like, hey, it's a violation of our First Amendment right. I do that. I always say it.
If I go up there and say the N-word over and over, that is perfectly legal.
Yes, but it's like a child going up to the civilian and being like, "Mom said I can't hit you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not."
We're here to disrupt the tyrannical process they're under. And if you just go up there and you're not quiet and stoic, all right.
I don't.
Thank you,
think,
next speaker. Unanimous. Thank you, next speaker. Unanimous.
I don't think I'm meek, in the way that I speak. I think
it's not meek, but no attention will ever be brought staying
to me
stoic to your cause.
I think it has been. If you see down the downtown Clearwater area, you said it was dead, right?
It has been for years.
You said it's been dead for years, right? I've been here for 3 years. Now the 500 block is completely occupied. The corner unit, I'm putting an investor from New York in there. That's because the city officials have listened to me. I might have started aggravated and disingenuous and had, felt like they were disingenuous originally for the previous city council meeting, not previous city council and the previous DDP.
Are you putting that into a Scientology-owned building?
No, of course not.
That's why. Everything else that's owned by Scientology is empty.
It goes again.
Just use
it goes
tax
again.
write-off.
It goes again. I have no qualms. If I was a timid man, I wouldn't be telling people who I am. I wouldn't be telling people where I live. I am not timid. I believe in the First Amendment right and the Second Amendment right.
Sure.
You want to know why? Because I believe like you are. If you have free speech...
Well, you threw in the caveat of being respectful.
No, I threw in the caveat of being respectful and standing up for what you believe in.
But that's what they're acting on. They're saying no one's
Let me-
respecting us the way we need to be respected. So we're going to get more tyrannical.
Rogers, I am Tony Teller. I live in the Nolans. I've said that.
The where?
The Nolans, right down here in downtown Clearwater. I own 520, 522, and 528. Some of your members have come
Where's
and
that?
spoke to me. They're restaurants that I own.
Where's that?
Right down here in the 500 block, the only block that's not owned by
Is that
Scientology.
the pizza place we go to?
The only block's not.
No, the pizza place is owned by
No.
Scientology.
Yeah.
So
Oh, it is?
it is.
Yeah.
My block is not.
Oh, they pay for rent for them?
So go back to what I'm saying. I do not shy away from conflict.
Mhm.
I have no demeanor in saying, hey, this is who I am. I meet with them at my place. I meet with you at my place. I'm sitting down and having a conversation because I
appreciate
believe
it.
that it's our right. But to say that I am meek and cower
No
away.
one said that.
You did. You said that's meek. Stoicism is meek.
No, I said.
No.
He said stoic.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, to cower, I don't cower.
I agree with that mentality as far as everything else in life.
Yeah.
Be nice to people. Be respectful.
Yeah. I think you get away far. I think
But
you-
when these parasites
Yes.
take our money under duress, don't listen to anybody. Everything they do is pre-colluded because you can't have 5 people be unanimous every single decision for 10 years in a row. There's something going on there.
On millions of dollars.
I've seen, honestly, and I'm gonna say this again, I go to all these. I see them online, like you guys, I do my due
I do
diligence.
too.
I do my due diligence.
Probably do more than us.
These guys, Mike Menino, particularly Lena, and even they speak out against things that are like, Mike Menino is the first to, like you guys, advocate for more due diligence on spending. He's done it.
Mike Menino went on a radio show and clowned us all and said, we're all we are.
It's because again, when you monetize our rights, and that's what they think that you're doing.
What do you mean?
They think that by monetizing and using YouTube, you're monetizing our civil rights.
Do they get paid to work?
Of course, like I said,
does CNN monetize their First
Of course it is.
Amendment?
Give you a bunch
So
of
what? That's a non-issue.
No, but I guess what I'm saying, are we reporting, or is the whole objective to cause a scene?
Well, no, the objective is to create a big enough scene so attention is brought to the fact that the tyrants in there
That's my
are
point.
using gunmen to quell free speech.
That's my point. Free speech should not be made to make a scene. It should be made.
Of
to
course,
express-
that's exactly what it's for unpopular speech.
Free speech is to articulate and communicate a point.
Of unpopular speech. It was passed to protect unpopular speech because popular speech doesn't need protection. If I go in there and say, "Oh, you guys are great," no cop would ever come near me.
You don't have to say that. You can go up there politely, or
politely gets zero attention. We want eyes to see
I think
what
it
they're
doesn't.
doing.
I think it doesn't, and I think I'm
Here,
an example that
I'm
it
gonna
doesn't.
show you. I'm gonna tell you how you can prove me wrong.
Okay.
Start a YouTube channel. Do it your way.
Okay.
See how many subscribers you can get to follow you and listen to you and come and support you versus the way we do it, where we got all kinds of people coming here and we actually are causing a scene. We are exposing their tyrannical behavior.
I think again, I'm going to say it again. I think free speech is not meant to cause a scene.
Yes, it is. That's its main purpose.
I fundamentally disagree.
That's not what the founders thought.
They did not think it was to make a video.
It was to protect unpopular speech.
That's
and
not what I said.
And it's reaffirmed by Cohen versus California.
I think that it's meant to protect unpopular speech. That I do agree with,
Mhm.
but I do not believe it's meant to make a scene.
Unpopular speech makes a scene. Those go hand in hand.
Unpopular speech doesn't have to make a scene.
So what? So what if it does? What's the problem?
I think the problem that I have with this is this situation is that the objective seems to be prioritizing making a scene.
No.
It seems like
that's false.
Seems like
We're here because he was falsely imprisoned. He was attacked by the police chief.
So why, in my mindset of mine, right? If that happens, right?
Mhm.
Instead of making a scene, right?
Mhm.
Instead of making a scene,
Mhm.
you have that documented, right? Okay.
It's all over the internet.
So you have it. So why not take?
So why haven't they done anything?
No, but you can also take your own form of legal action. There's ways, a system you can go about it.
No, there isn't.
Why
Find me one civil rights lawyer that protects against the Bill of Rights. I guarantee. You could spend on the phone 3 hours right now. You won't find one.
There's due diligence with everything. I'm sure you could find an advocate of, especially now. There's more people that are.
Dude, I've called 150 lawyers, not one, and every single one of them says civil rights lawyer, but not one of them does anything for free speech.
So then why?
Because there's no money in it.
How's there no money in it?
There's no money in Title 42 Section
So you-
1983
so
lawsuits.
So you believe that in the only way that we can monetize, or you can monetize, monetize this, it's YouTube.
What do you mean by monetize? It's not my purpose. I've been doing this since before the internet was a thing.
So what is the purpose? To make a scene?
What do you mean to make a scene?
You
To
said that-
defend the Bill of Rights against tyrants and gunmen. What? That's as clear as day.
It isn't.
How?
As a citizen, it isn't. And it isn't just
How
me.
can you be a libertarian?
Of course.
And not understand? We're here fighting for First Amendment and Second Amendment
I
rights.
understand that. I've never said I don't.
You
believe
just
in
don't like our style.
that. I think your style, or the style that is here prominent, is counterproductive.
Okay.
That's all I think. I don't disagree with half
I
your
think
points.
you're objectively wrong.
And I think you are objectively wrong.
Okay, prove it.
I told you how.
Okay,
prove
I can prove it by 100 million people watching me and agreeing with me.
I can prove it by changing the downtown.
Changing the downtown what?
Having
That
business.
means they respect your First Amendment because they changed the downtown?
No,
that means the police chief didn't assault somebody because they
believe-
changed the downtown?
I believe that there's ways in order to get your objective. Which
How do we get the police chief arrested for assaulting someone who didn't break a law? Go ahead. Tell me your stoic way to do that.
How do we get a policeman objective arrested with breaking the law?
For committing assault on somebody, yeah.
See, again, this is on the preface that he committed assault, right?
Well, it's on video.
Okay, so it's 100% now that he committed assault, right?
If I come up and touch you right now, it's assault, yes. Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
If you
Unwanted touching, yes.
I wouldn't classify it as assault.
Dude, if I literally touch you, like, boop, that's a battery.
You understand what I'm saying?
What?
You're playing a juvenile game, like a
What
child,
game?
like
What
a child.
game?
This game, and I'll describe it. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. And the moment someone pushes you back, you're a tyrant.
What are you talking about?
I just
He
told
was
you.
attacked by the police
I
chief.
understand what you're saying, but I understand what you're saying. He's attacked by a police chief. You said this is an attack. Would you still qualify that if he was removing someone and forcibly making him vacate? Would it still be assault?
Yes. Forcibly vacate for what reason? Speaking?
In their face like that. That's just so damn
For
ignorant,
speaking?
so rude.
What happened?
I don't know. She's on the phone, I think.
Oh damn. Well, that's
So how
my-
do we get him arrested?
My belief is this: I believe if you go and you talk to him, I think this: if you go and you talk with them, and you don't seem like you are hostile.
Talk to who?
Whoever you need to talk to.
We have. They don't listen. You email them, they don't respond. You call them, you go to voicemail. Have you not dealt with government?
I have.
How old are you, brother?
I'm 37. So again,
I don't believe you're a libertarian.
You don't think
Or
I'm-
you're maybe a Bill Maher libertarian.
Bill Maher's not a libertarian.
Yeah, he claims to be.
He's not a libertarian.
I used to call myself a
I'm more of
libertarian,
a-
but people like Bill Maher say they're
That's
libertarian.
not a libertarian.
You should just call yourself a constitutionalist.
Yeah, that's what I am.
Yeah, well, libertarian doesn't mean that anymore.
But there's
libertarians who want to take guns away.
That's insane.
Well,
But that's something we can both agree to.
All right.
Your ability to speak. I just think that the way you should speak should be eloquent. That's it.
Okay, so if I go there and say, Mayor, your police chief assaulted somebody, will you please have him arrested?
See,
I'm now stoic
I would
and
say
nice
this.
and polite.
If
now
I was in your situation, right,
Mhm.
I would say this. I would say, I believe that there's X, Y, and Z in the city of Clearwater, and a thing like that.
Mhm.
I, as a citizen, will now be petitioning and getting my citizens involved to file a class action lawsuit against this person.
they'll laugh at you. No one will take that
You
case.
don't.
That's the reality.
You think so?
I know, dude, I've been doing this since the 90s.
Okay.
I know how government works. They are basically a cartel. They stick up. Have you ever seen a cop arrest a cop?
Yes.
Usually it's domestic violence.
DUIs too.
And DUIs.
DUIs,
And a lot-
assault.
and how many videos you
I've seen
see-
it in assault.
And how many videos you see a cops on a DUI and they let him go, or they drive him home and have his car towed home? They're above the law, dude.
I think.
The Fourth Amendment. What do you think about driver's licenses? Should people have to have a driver's license?
You want my real opinion on it?
Yeah.
I think that if it's your sovereign property and you are an American citizen, you do not need to have a license to travel within every state.
Now you understand they'll call you a domestic terrorist for saying that, right? I agree 100% with you.
Like I said, there's things we can agree with. I'm not saying that
If you wanted to get that change here, they would laugh at you for the next 20 years. They make $20 billion a year.
I understand that.
An unconstitutional traffic code.
I understand that aspect of it, but there's things that we agree with, things we don't. All I think is that to rewind again, they're people, they have families.
They don't act like people.
They're people.
They're not.
they've always acted polite and civil with me.
What about when they assault people and falsely imprison them? Are you good with that?
All I'm saying.
Are you good with that?
All I'm saying is, again,
Please answer that question.
I'm not good with anyone assaulting.
Okay.
And period.
And so what should happen to the police chief for committing that felony?
Again, you're stuck on this point, and you're not listening to my whole point. I'm for the stuff,
You're
but
just saying be polite is basically what you're saying.
Yes,
And that does nothing. That gets nowhere. Your emails go in the garbage.
You don't.
They say next speaker. Nothing gets noticed.
I disagree
Even if
with
you
you.
recorded yourself doing it, nobody would watch
I
that.
100% disagree with you.
Nobody would watch it.
I think.
Try it.
I think I've done. So I've spoken out against Scientology, right?
I don't know.
I have.
Good.
On YouTube and stuff like that.
Good. I'm glad you have.
Okay. I've done that. And I've heard backlash saying that it would be negative and stuff like that, right? That because whatever, you're not supposed to give. I did it politely. I told him that I said some negative things, very powerfully negative things. But I didn't go and incite anything. I said, hey, Derek.
Do you believe I incited something today?
I believe that you were, like I said, instigating.
How?
Anyone who saw the video would see that.
I'm gonna post it on my thing,
I
and
know you
all
will.
I hear is, "Go get him, John. You're doing great,
Yes,
John.
because-
We need 1 million more of you, John."
Because the same thing that you stated about the voting class being 8% and fanatical in one group and say that they're thing, you also have a small margin of people, be it 1 million,
Millions.
200,000, 8 million. I don't know your subscribers.
Millions.
So you have
Of views.
Millions of views.
Yeah.
I don't know how many subscribers.
250,000.
Okay, so you have 250,000 people,
Yeah.
right? 250,000 people that support your opinion.
Oh well, maybe.
Okay. Or viewing
More.
your opinion.
More.
Let's say realistically, you know that YouTube.
My
statistics.
channel has over 100 million views. The overwhelming majority are on my side.
like I said.
So we're talking about 100 million people have watched my stuff, and over the majority are in my favor. 100 million people is more than most countries.
There was 100 million views.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's people watching. Most of your
it's
traffic.
either a person or a monkey or a dog or
Most
something.
of your traffic's going to be repeat customers. Like most of my.
That's
business
not
is-
true on YouTube. It's actually most people that watch your channel come from outside your subscribership. If you look at the stats, I'll gladly show you if you don't believe me.
Well, that's just not. It's not that I don't believe you. There's no
I
reason.
don't
not
even
to.
make that much money, dude.
There's no reason not to believe you.
It's not about the money for me. I don't make that much.
What I'm trying to say is that's my fundamental point. To remind that there are elected officials that we elected.
No, we didn't.
Our citizens elected. Same thing.
No, they didn't.
Same thing as you're saying that you're representing the vast majority of Americans, millions, right?
Oh, well, the vast majority of people
Who agree with
me,
you.
Yeah.
So, like you, who have your subscription base, they had their subscription base.
Except they have guns, a monopoly on violence, qualified immunity, sovereign immunity. They let each other go. They don't bust each other. It's not an equal playing field.
So then why wouldn't you run for
Sure, if
political
I had
office?
100 million soldiers,
so why
I
would-
could make change real
So
quick.
why that's tyranny.
That's exactly gunmen.
No.
Removing you for speech
no.
is tyranny.
What you said, you sound like tyranny.
I sound like a government.
That's
a guy in the control of a bunch of gunmen. That's government.
You said I would.
Government
make
is
change quickly.
force.
I said I would make change quickly. Our government, unfortunately, does not make change quickly.
Oh yeah, they do.
They do not. That the bureau, you can't be.
It depends on what it is. If it's something they want, if it's something they don't want, they stall.
There's so much
install,
bureaucracy.
install.
It's everything takes a long time with government.
That's true.
So like the reason why it's not like if I had 100 gunmen, I would make a difference between because then it's a dictatorship. One person. There's 6 city council members sitting in there.
And they all
There's
unanimous on everything, and they all
disagree-
support the police.
They disagree constantly.
Then why they always vote unanimous?
I don't know.
Because they don't disagree.
They don't vote always unanimous.
Every meeting I've been to, everything on the agenda, every single time has been unanimous.
I've seen,
Every single time I've been here.
You know, I've been here. I've seen it multiple times. Like I said, Lena, Mike Menino, they've also spoken.
If they have voted 4-5, 5-4, 3-5, I've yet to see it.
I would say stick around. It happens.
It does happen?
I promise you. Like you said, I'm not a man who's against your political beliefs. Obviously.
How can you be? I'm constitutionalist.
So am I. But
I'm not a polite one.
I think there's enough space in both of our opinions, and I think it's part of it.
I don't dislike you, brother.
It's part of it.
Mhm.
You have your way, and I have my way.
Mhm.
I guarantee my way will get things, and your way will get things done.
Who do you think the founding fathers would agree with, you or me?
I think there were a mix of them. If you really look into their dialogues, I think there was people like you, and there were people like me.
But which ones fought?
They all fought.
They all fought?
Most of them fought.
They all picked up arms?
Well, Jefferson fought. Quincy Adams,
So
questionable.
there was a 2 or 3% tax. They went straight to war over it.
Of course, we live.
Now
in
we're at a 30% tax.
That I agree with.
A monopoly on violence.
So-
the cops don't
the
even
mono-
know the law that they're supposed to enforce.
I think
They don't even know the law. They're not taught law. You don't see a problem with that?
I think
They're not even taught the law.
I think that the more that we demonize police force, right?
Mhm.
The more we demonize police
Mhm.
force, the more.
Dude, they kill 3 people a day.
The more
and 20 dogs.
Yeah, I would say the more
They raid people's homes at 4 in the morning and kill their dogs and throw grenades in baby cribs.
That's, again, those are horrific atrocities.
And they happen on a regular basis.
But they are also, I don't think that the vast majority of police forces like that, or even condones
Is
that.
like
behavior.
what?
Condones that behavior.
Then why do they do it? Did they arrest the cops who did it? If they don't arrest the cop who's doing it, they condone it.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
Period, point blank.
I can see that.
So Sergeant Stiff put a guy in jail for saying he gets under the thin skin of Mayor Ungst. Were you there for that one?
Yeah, I was.
So he put a man in a cage for saying he gets under the thin skin of the mayor. He didn't even say anything. He was being stoic.
Like I said, first of all, you're talking about.
You're telling me that's an arrestable offense?
Who's the gentleman, the older gentleman?
Baluba.
Be it as it is, and be it as with Baluba is a fine. I might not always agree with his points, but Baluba does a good job articulating his point. He does a good job articulating his point.
He was arrested.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. You said it quite a few times. He's an articulate man.
Uh-huh.
He has my respect, right? And he does stand for a lot of things. If he was unjustly arrested, right? If he was unjustly arrested.
What do you mean if?
Because I don't know.
Were you not there for that meeting?
I was, but I don't know any.
He said, I get under the thin skin of the mayor, and he was arrested for it.
I don't know.
But you were there.
I understand that, but
what are you missing?
The whole story.
You're doing bureaucratic stuff now.
I guess so.
It's as plain as day. He arrested a man for saying he gets under the thin skin of the mayor. That should infuriate you.
Like I said.
That should infuriate you.
Like I said, Baluba, I'm a big. I shake his hand.
But that has nothing to do with Baluba. Say it's anybody.
It does.
It doesn't.
It does.
Any person who says they get under the thin skin of the mayor should be arrested?
Absolutely. I didn't say that. Come on. You
Okay.
can't take me out of context.
I'm not. I'm saying you agree with me, but you keep talking about Baluba. The point is,
I'm saying I agree with Baluba.
Right.
I don't necessarily think that he's.
So what should happen to Sergeant Stiff?
No, like I said, what should happen to him? I think in anything, right? There has to be, what do you call it? Due process.
There's no due process for police. They investigate their own crimes. That's why they're above the law. Imagine if you get pulled over,
like I said,
and he gives you a ticket, and you say, "Hey, I'll email you in 2 weeks after I investigate if I did something wrong."
If that's the due process, you
don't know about internal affairs.
Of course I do, but
okay.
It's not always like what you're saying. It isn't always what you're saying.
What isn't always what I'm saying?
There isn't always. There's police officers that stick up for the Constitution. There are police officers who advocate for.
Where?
All over the United States.
I've watched 20,000 YouTube videos. I've seen 5 cops.
Which one are going to be the best?
5.
Negative publicity is always higher. It gets more attention than positive.
What do you mean negative publicity? Again, you're making excuses for these guys.
I'm not making excuses.
We hold a camera. I can't make you say something you don't want to say.
No.
I can't make you act the way you don't want to act.
Of course.
So when we point the camera at cops and they don't know the law and they violate the law and they violate your rights and nothing ever happens to them, it's not just because of the negative. Yeah, but that's just reality.
Is the objective to get them to violate the law? Is it like entrapment?
How can a cop violate the law? That means they don't know their own job.
Okay, like that. So that's my whole point.
That's the epidemic going on in this country. Police don't know their own job. They don't know the Constitution. They violate their own. Okay, bro.
Yeah,
I thank you.
No, yeah, dude. Like you said, I appreciate the discussion.
I'll come in with you.
I think the best thing that our country is missing is conversation.
Exactly. And that's what they're trying to stifle.
Yeah, well, like I said, I believe in that. But conversation is best held with, like, eloquently.
Between you and I, yes.
I just got myself kicked out of the meeting.
Between you and I, yes. Between us and government parasites, no. Have a good night. There's Sergeant Stiff. There's your guy.
As long as it's not, it shouldn't be the objective to do that, though. To be kicked out should not be the objective.
That's not the objective. They make the decision to kick us out, not us. What did he get kicked off for? A speech?
In front of her on purpose, and then you move like this. I got it on video. I got it on video. Yeah, get out of the way.
Wow. Sergeant Stiff getting up. This guy arrested a man for saying he gets under the thin skin of a mayor. When is this guy gonna? Why don't you guys arrest him for violating his oath?
Who's in danger for real?
What happened?
They shoved him out.
Who?
The guy in the green?
Why?
Because he was in their way.
He was leaving, but not to their order.
Oh, so they assaulted him.
He was in between them and.
Right in front of me.
There you go. Another assault. Another assault by the Clearwater PD. Another assault.
Unbelievable.
Why was he being kicked out?
They just got in between them and Mike, and they didn't like that. So
Mike
They couldn't get
was-
to him quick enough.
He's like, I'm going to speak my mind and leave because you're going to kick me out anyhow. He got tangled up in it, and then he got, because Mike wasn't moving fast enough, that bottlenecked the cops, and he got shoved out. That's bullshit.
Are you okay?
Yeah. That's bullshit.
Was it during public comments?
You got
He was fucking sitting there gaslighting my ass.
Who was?
He kept gaslighting me. He
Who?
was like, oh, the guy that comes 4 hours and he's just making a disturbance and he's causing all this harassment.
Who's saying that?
The fucking mayor.
The mayor won't shut the hell up.
He was
loves
sitting there.
the sound of his own voice.
I swear to God, was he not just sitting there gaslighting me for fucking almost like 5 minutes, dude? And I got to a point where he just said something. I was just like, fuck this. I'm not going to accept this. I'm like, you are not going to gaslight me like this. And especially the fact that I know that you're gonna vote for this unanimous fuckingly. It wouldn't have mattered. There was nothing changed in their mind today.
No, I know.
So I was like, you know something, if I'm not, I'm gonna kick myself the fuck out. And I went up and I looked at the fucking guy with the camera.
Did
I'm
they
like,
pass
hey,
it?
I don't know if he recorded it or not, but I was like, hey man, I just gave him the one up thing, and hey, get your camera fucking ready.
Where do you get this? You told him that I was gonna be a.
No, I don't know what the fuck he's talking
He's just
about.
lying?
He's just saying shit out of his fucking mouth, dude. That's what I'm saying, dude. He's just fucking lying.
Well, you know.
How does he even know that I know you?
I don't know.
I turned my damn
He
back
doesn't.
on him. I couldn't take it no more.
He doesn't. He just said that. He would have said that about Eyes on the State if he knew his name. The only reason you knew your name is because of me. When I put the videos
I wrote
out.
John on there.
Well, no. Even their thing is that they're watching my videos. And remember, I was like Otterpalooza, John Felix, and I put up your fucking screen. That's the only reason he knows who you are. The only reason.
Whatever.
I'm sorry. I can't sit there watching battle.
I can't.
Who's still in there? Eyes
I even
and who
told
else?
him after I said,
Eyes,
go around me.
Caveman.
I've had back surgery. I
Caveman.
can't fucking run.
Dude,
You
Blaine,
couldn't
the
go
guy
any
Blaine
further.
Haluba's still in there.
I either run him over. Yeah. Or you're supposed to bulldog him down. I just kept walking. See, that's why I can't do this. I cannot. It's like that shit with the chair. Snipping chairs away. It's like, why do you have to disturb 3 people when you can cut 1 chair and let me move out loud? Why does that government have to be so complicated?
They're incompetent. Tyrants.
I'm. It's okay that they're shutting down public comment for 6 months. Because now what?
No, you can't get pause on the Constitution.
Hold on. But now they thought it was going to be like, oh, he goes away, and guess what? I'm like, you know something? I'll just do records requests and I'll expose you all with records requests. They make it seem like I have to fucking come here to fucking ruin their fucking day.
I think they're mad because they're not getting a cut of their monetization. They
Did
keep
you
going
hear that
back to you making
motherfucker
money.
gaslight
Yeah, that's what it really sounded like.
Do they work
kept
for free?
honing in on that.
Do they work for free?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
Then why are you bringing that up?
But they keep saying, he's coming here making money off his clicks and this, that, and the other.
So?
Are you mad?
So is the other fucking media.
Exactly.
Fucking asshole.
Dude,
Oh,
he
I'm
was
sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay, dude. Hey, Oshana.
Sorry, baby.
Hey,
baby, yeah.
show. Hey.
Mom's like, no.
Hi.
No bad finger.
No bad finger. What's the bad finger? Show me the bad finger.
Show it on your left arm.
Oh yeah. They
Damn,
did
I had a
one-
lot more to go.
Oh yeah, they're not done. They're still like an hour. They're at least a solid hour. And he was gaslighting me about that too. He's like, oh, this meeting went over an hour because of him.
I think he was mad because you're the only one that came up and said
so-
anything about any of
and,
that
I-
stuff.
and see, that's the thing they don't understand is that, okay, I do come back. I'm just gonna pull every single agenda item and I'm just gonna walk up there like, yeah, I just don't agree with none of this shit that you're spending. And I'll just do it, and I'll do the same thing. I'll get everybody to sign off 1 extra minute and I'll just stand up there for 5 fucking minutes with just silence. You know, yeah, now you want me to waste your fucking time? I'll waste your fucking time. I'm like, I don't give two flying fucks. You don't give a shit.
Tiff knew my name too, Mr. Felix. Yeah, they know. They watch.
Oh,
Let
yeah,
them watch.
they know.
Let them watch.
What do you think roll call was for who was given minutes?
41, you guys got suspended. But during the time, Burberry time, he was opposing it, but I don't think he was really opposing to the suspension. Originally, he was sorry. Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, nice.
That's all I know.
Welcome, dude. Yeah, that.
I moved to Florida from Cali because Cali is, California is disgusting. So
You guys gotta be pissed about our politics too and all that shit.
No, I wasn't into politics until like COVID. When it's COVID, I'm like, whoa. But I don't really know how to do all this stuff. I mean, there's so much unfair stuff I see in Fort Pierce.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's from Fort Pierce.
Oh, wow.
He took the 4-hour drive too.
Yeah, but
Start working at Fort Pierce, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of
After my YouTube channel dies, dude, I'm gonna get a job at the city.
No, I mean the political issues.
Yeah, the reason I don't is that I'm so well known over there that they leave. Remember the actor Amanda stuff with PBSO and all them? And where were her stomping grounds? Right there. And I'm not agreeing with it, but they've gotten to a point where they don't pull us over, they don't do nothing. And so if I start really ruffling, if I go in, I'm going in hard. Just like I go in hard here if I find bad things.